The long-awaited meeting between U.S. President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yielded optimism on the chances for normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia. The two leaders discussed various issues from Iran to Israeli democracy, and Biden even invited Netanyahu to visit the White House before the end of the year. And ILTV's Steve Leibovich has more.
President Biden set a positive tone by extending a White House invitation to Netanyahu as soon as the two leaders sat down to talk.
I hope we'll see each other in Washington by the end of the year here.
Before getting down to business, Biden made clear his decades-long love of Israel.
75 years ago, the first Israeli Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, after declaring independence, used a phrase that I've quoted very often. He said that if the world stands with Israel, the dream of generations will be fulfilled. You've heard me say many times, with a no Israel, we'd have to invent one.
Biden then touched on issues of friction between Washington and Jerusalem and made clear his viewpoints.
Today, we're going to discuss some of the hard issues, and that is upholding democratic values that lie at the heart of our partnership, including checks and balances in our systems, and preserving a path to a negotiated two-state solution, and ensuring that Iran never acquires a nuclear weapon.
The public meeting was followed by private talks. A senior Israeli official downplayed the impact of the overhaul issue on the conversation, saying Israeli normalization with Saudi Arabia had been the focus of the meeting. The issue of Saudi-Israeli normalization also played out in public.
I suffer from oxymoron, Irish optimism. And I think that you look at, if you and I 10 years ago were talking about normalization with Saudi Arabia, and I think we'd look at each other like, who's been drinking what? But we're
good Irish whiskey.
Good Irish whiskey.
I think that under your leadership, Mr. President, we can forge a historic peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia. And I think such a peace would go a long way, first, to advance the end of the Arab-Israeli conflict, achieve reconciliation between the Islamic world and the Jewish state, and advance a genuine peace between Israel and the Palestinians.
Netanyahu made the Israeli case to confront Iran together.
I appreciate, Mr. President, your continuous commitment to prevent Iran from achieving nuclear weapons capability. I think that's critical. And that shared goal of ours can be best achieved by a credible military threat, crippling sanctions, and supporting the brave men and women of Iran who despise that regime and who are our real partners for a better future.
The public meeting finished on this positive note.
Mr. President, with your leadership, we can make history.
Together.